got for you guys is a whole chicken on the Traeger. Super easy, probably the easiest thing you could ever cook on the Traeger. So what we do is a few little different things just to kind of give a little more flavor. In all reality, you could really just put some seasoning on the outside of this, put it on the Traeger at 325 for an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes, and it's going to be done. So not hard to cook, but if you want to add a little more flavor to it, here's a couple tricks. I'm going to show you what those are. I've got 1/3 cup of melted butter. I've got our whiskey bent bird seasoning. I've got some olive oil. So first thing you want to do, get your chicken out of the wrapper, rinse it, make sure you get your neck and giblets out of it, and then take some paper towels and make sure that skin's really dry. If the skin's wet, it's going to get soggy when you cook it on the grill. So to get your skin nice and crispy, the first thing is you got to get that skin nice and dry. So there's a couple ways you can do this. I'm going to use an injector. If you don't have an injector, you can run your hand up under the skin. Well, I do this a lot with a turkey, but with chicken, the skin is a little more thin, a little more fragile, so when you run your hand up under the skin to separate it, a lot of times the skin will rip, and then you have an exposed breast area while it's cooking. So what I'm going to do is use an injector to inject some seasoned butter up under the skin, all around the breast, into the legs, and that way we don't have to actually separate that skin up off the breast, and it'll give us a lot better results at the end. So 1/3 cup of melted butter. I'm going to put some seasoning in there. Mix it up real good. Now you're just going to take your injector, suck you up a bunch of that seasoned butter. Then you're just going to raise the skin up, and you just want to puncture the skin a little bit. You don't want to go into the breast, you just want to puncture the skin, and then start shooting your butter all up under the skin right there. Nice and gentle so that you don't puncture the skin. If you do puncture the skin, not the end of the world, but if you can get this done without puncturing the skin, you're going to lock all that butter in underneath, and it's going to really give that breast a really nice flavor as it cooks. If you don't have an injector, I highly recommend getting one. I didn't realize I needed one until didn't realize how much I would use one until I actually had it. So just use the injector just to kind of stick in there and separate that skin gently, but don't go all the way through. And then just as you pull that injector out, just kind of squeeze that butter in there. It's going to go all down underneath the skin. This is something we started doing on turkeys, like I said, and man, what a difference it made. So you can see you get that butter in there, and then you can start working it. You can start working that butter in. If you want to do a little bit on the legs, you can. You can raise the skin up. Shoot a little bit in there on the legs. A little bit on that leg. Shoot some in on that leg. Now you got your butter all under the skin. Now you're going to rub the outside with just a little bit of olive oil, very light coat. This is what's going to give you that nice crispy skin. A little butter run out, that's alright. If a little bit of butter runs out, that's fine, just rub it back on top. And then you're going to take your seasoning and just season up the rest of it. do is come out and check on it in about 45 minutes, and if I need to rotate it, if I notice the side's getting a little more, I can rotate it at 45 minutes. Alright, it's been on for an hour and a half, so now I'm going to check it, make sure we're over 165 at the breast. And then I like to come in and check these legs, and make sure those are up around 190. Alright, looking good. Look at these legs. Oh yeah. So anytime you're dealing with the legs or the wings on the chicken, anything up 190, 200 degrees is going to make that meat a lot more tender. Won't be so chewy. So as long as the breast is over 165, ours right now is running about 175. So we're going to take it off, let it rest, and then we're going to slice it. Alright, so it's been resting now for about 10 minutes. We're going to go ahead and slice it up. You know, don't be super concerned with making sure to pull this thing off right when it's 165 degrees on the nose. You can go 175, even 180 degrees on this, and it's not going to dry out. You know, when you cook it whole like that, a lot of times we found that even the texture of the meat, if you go a little past 165, just is a little more to our liking. It's still moist, it's still real tender and juicy, but it's not, it doesn't have that slight undercooked feel that it can have sometimes when you pull it off right at 165. So let's see. I am by no means a carving expert. But here's what we want right here. And there you go, boy. Look at that. And that was 175 when I checked it right in the breast, 175 degrees, and then we let it sit for 10 minutes. You can see it is definitely not dry. Alright, so there you have it. You know, there's really nothing easier you can make on the Traeger than a whole chicken. I mean, 325 degrees for an hour and a half. You know, you can just season it, like I said, and throw it on there. You don't have to do the butter and the skin and all that, but if you do, you're going to get a lot better results, and it is going to be super tasty. It's time for us to eat dinner.